Hi, Joshua. So I'm going to work through the problems that you asked me about in your email. This is about number 16. Okay, so if you look at the question, it's asking you to calculate how many grams of calcium fluoride you're going to produce, which is one of the products in the reaction. So the first thing you have to do is just write the balance equation for this reaction. So here's the whole equation, and I just have to balance it in this case. And I can do it the following way. I can see in this case that I have 3 oxygen on the reactant side, right? And I want to make sure that I balance that, so I can put 3 on the water where the oxygen appears, and then that will give me 6 hydrogen now, which means I will put 6 on this side, and that tell me that I have 6 fluorine on the left side, and that adds up correctly with the product, which is also 6 fluorine. So now the equation is balanced. The next thing you want to do is you want to figure out, since you're given both reactants, right, you want to figure out which one is the limiting reactant. So in this case you were told that this is 20 grams and this one is 17 grams. Okay, to do that, the first step you have to do is convert both of these masses to the number of moles, and you do that by dividing each of the mass with the molar mass of that compound. Okay, so here I've written the calculation for that. So the number of moles of calcium silicate would be 20 grams of the mass divided by its molar mass, which if you go to periodic table and calculate would have been 116 grams per mole. The answer here would be your number of moles, and that should be 0.1724 moles. And then you do the same with the HF. 17 grams divided by its molar mass, which is 20 grams per mole, and you get 0.85 moles. Okay, so these are the actual number of moles of each reactant, and then after that, to determine limiting reactant, what you have to do is take each of these numbers and divide them by the coefficient in the reaction. So in other words, for calcium silicate you would divide by 1, because the coefficient here is 1, and then for HF you would divide by 6 because the coefficient is 6. Okay, and so that gives me 0.1724, same answer, same number I should say, and then the other one would actually change, and that ends up being 0.142 or 1417. Now, to actually determine limiting reactant, you look at these two numbers, these red numbers. Since this number is smaller, 0.142 is smaller than 0.17, so as a result, in this case, our limiting reactant is HF. Okay. Once you figure out the limiting reactant, the next thing you need to do is just use that limiting reactant to calculate how much product you're going to have based on your equation. Okay. So I'm just going to do a calculation here on the same page. So I'm going to start with my limiting reactant. So now I'm going to calculate my product, right? Mass of calcium fluoride. That's what they're asking us to do. So I'm going to use my limiting reactant, which remember is 0.85 moles, right? That's how much I actually have of my limiting reactant, so 0.85 moles. And then now I have to multiply this by my mole ratio between the stuff I'm looking for. So remember, this is 0.85 moles of HF, right? So I want to cancel that out, so I'm going to have my HF here at the denominator, and then the top would be the stuff I'm looking for, which is CaF2. So now I want the two coefficients. The coefficients of CaF2 is 1, so I'll put 1 here, and I put 6 for HF, and then lastly I'm going to multiply by the molar mass of CaF2, which if you look up the periodic table, it's going to be 78 grams per mole CaF2. Okay, gram CaF2, mole CaF2. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to convert the number of moles back to the mass. So the moles of HF cancel with this one, the moles of CaF2 cancel with this one, so your N unit becomes grams of CaF2. And your final answer should be 11.05 grams. Okay, that's for number 16.